actually, there was one part about this book that I really liked. It was like at the beginning, and this is the way she wrote it. I know you probably can't see this. I'll like just make a. I'll zoom in on this later.
Yes.
But like at the beginning of every chapter, there was like a little like forward to the chapter almost. That would be like a letter written to someone, or a passage from a diary, or a passage of a book, like from this world, like this next futuristic world.
Right, and it wasn't exactly futuristic, it was just like a parallel world, because it actually took place in like 1980 something.
Right, it was 1980.
So, yeah, it was kind of hard to separate yourself from what you knew happened in 1987 to this parallel world where... Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, we're going to take this one for example, just because this is the one I'm open to. But like chapter 20 has a passage from an article in a magazine written by Thursday's uncle about this what happened, like their adventure. And so I thought that was really clever. I really liked that a lot, even though sometimes it was confusing because it was like a passage out of the Goliath handbook or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little weird.
And it did provide some more insight as to like who these characters actually were.
And the world in general. I think the most funny one was the one I had mentioned before where it's like, oh, I'm going to marry Thursday. Really? Have you talked to her about this? No, but I'm going to marry her even if she doesn't know it yet. The thing that was like The Graduate.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot.
That was funny.
Really funny.
Yeah, that was probably one of the only funny parts of the whole book.
Yeah, this wasn't a particularly.
It definitely
funny
wasn't
book.
a funny book. No.
I liked it.
I mean,
okay.
I guess you'd categorize it like as a suspense read, but in a lot of parts, like since it was so predictable, it wasn't really that suspenseful.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I think my favorite passage is when she was actually in the book Jane Eyre trying to fix it, and basically at the part where she fixes the end, when she whispers into the wall that makes Jane come back to the house which she has destroyed, and Rochester's like lost a hand, and they get together. I think that that's a good part because I think that just sort of shows that. I think the message there is that nothing is permanent. Like no future or destiny is permanent, because that was the thing about the book. The people in the book couldn't change the book because that was how it was written, and so none of them liked it. Like they hated the ending in the book. They're like no one likes that Jane didn't end up with Rochester. Mm-hmm. But in the fixed version, they did get together and they were able to change their future, and that's what I think.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool part too. But because, yeah, like what you said, yeah, like the people in the book didn't have the power to change it, but
With a little help.
Yes, with a little help, and Thursday Next, they were able to change it. Yeah.
By Thursday Next.
Yes. And the other good part was that, like, everybody who didn't like the ending actually ended up liking it, so.
Yeah. Thursday's, like, mobbed by, like, fans of the book. Like, I'm so glad you fixed this book! And I thought that was kind of funny.
I know, that was funny, yeah. Because at first I was, like, going to be like, oh, all the people who love Jane Eyre are going to be, like, all mad because the book's changed. But
it's fixed.
Yeah, exactly. And happily.
And like, besides the message, the more obvious messages of consumerism and, like, dependent on big business and militarism. I can never pronounce the word. I liked the like, more subtle theme of conformity and leaving the past behind. Because there's actually one part, it's just a short part, and they don't go into it at all. But there's a part where they talk about these riots that have been going on through, like, the Romantics and, like, the modern, like, not modern, but, like, they've basically banned older forms of artwork. Like, they've banned more creation of things in the Romantic style, in, like, the 1700s-ish style, in the 1600s-ish style. And people protesting that, like, they paint it on their faces, and, like, they get tattoos of it. And I thought that was an interesting thing, that they feel like they have to leave the past behind to move forward.
Yeah, but in a lot of ways, the past wasn't really forgotten, because they still thought so much about the books, which all came from way past.
Yeah.
And so in a way, there was almost a resistance to change, even in the military. Neither country wanted to back out of the Chimera. And also, even the Jane Eyre, the changing of the book, or there's another book that was stolen called
Chuzzlewit.
Yeah, Chuzzlewit by Dickens, and when that book changed, or even like one character was removed, there was still a huge uproar as to a resistance to the change of these books. Not as much with Jane Eyre, but with the Art and Chuzzlewit.
Well, that's because he basically took a minor character of the book and killed him, so that he could not be returned to the book. It could never be fixed.
Right. Yeah, but people still didn't like even the minor change. Yeah. And obviously they still were holding on to the classics. It didn't really appear that a whole lot of new books had been written. It just seemed like all they talked about was novelism.
Right. And yet they felt like they couldn't stay behind with artwork, but they did with literature. And it was a little weird, but I felt like it almost felt like they were trying to conform everyone. Like,
Yeah.
we all have to like the same thing, so we can't go back to this artwork because we have this artwork, this newer artwork.